Have you ever bought a domain for a business you hadn't actually started? No logo, no offer, one potential customer, your mom, and even she has questions. But the domain? Secured. $14 a year. Auto-renewing. Because apparently, a dream stays alive as long as you keep paying the hosting fee. And it's never just the business. It's the guitar in the corner. It's the novel you started 4 years ago that's still 3 chapters. The language app that stopped encouraging you and now sounds vaguely disappointed in you. You're surrounded by things you were extremely excited about for a few weeks. And some of them had real potential, which is the annoying part. Because you aren't someone who can't start things. Starting might actually be your best skill. You get an idea, you get inspired, you buy the thing, you open the blank document and name it something totally normal like the big idea. And for a brief, beautiful moment, you're a person with momentum. You have a plan. This time could be different. And then the project asks you to do something mildly inconvenient. Research something. Make a decision. Send an email. Learn a skill. Do the boring middle part. And suddenly, you need to organize your pantry. So I don't think you necessarily have a follow-through problem. I think you might have what I call a beginnings addiction. Because beginnings are incredible. At the beginning, nothing has gone wrong yet. The business is thriving. The book is meaningful. The garden is beautiful. The workout routine has already changed your life somehow. You haven't met reality yet. And reality shows up right around the time it stops being fun. Once you see that, you start spotting the evidence everywhere. For example, look at your books. Really look. Do you have a few all parked around page 40? Because page 40 is where the book stops being new and starts asking for commitment. You didn't hate it. You just met a newer book. A book with a much more exciting beginning. And your notes app? A crime scene. Open a few. There'll probably be a title so bold it feels like you were absolutely certain you had just cracked something wide open. Now, you have no idea what it means. I have one that literally says, the thing about the thing. That's it. No context. No explanation. No clue what the thing was. But I'm keeping it because, obviously, it mattered. Then there are the former personalities. There was Sourdough You. Very intense about gluten for a while there. There was Couch to 5K You. She made it to couch to 2K, then negotiated a settlement. There was also Minimalist You, who bought 17 storage containers. And somewhere in your house, there may be a ukulele you bought after watching a video of a peaceful man on the beach. He was strumming. The wind was blowing. He looked calm, like he'd never checked his email from bed. You didn't really want to learn the ukulele. You wanted to become that guy. The ukulele was just your best guess. And honestly, some things deserve to be abandoned. Quitting the wrong thing isn't a character flaw. It's editing. The point is not to finish every single thing you've ever started. That sounds exhausting. But then there's the other category. The project that's almost done. And all that's left is the boring 10% that will let you call it finished. And somehow, that 10% feels heavier than the entire project did at the beginning. So naturally, you start something else. Because starting and finishing aren't the same emotional experience. Starting asks, what could this be? Finishing asks, what is this, really? And that's a much more vulnerable question. A new idea feels good for a second. It's just enough to quiet the guilt from the old projects you left behind. For a moment, it feels like it works. Then suddenly, everything feels noisy and scattered, like you've created more chaos than clarity. But I think there might be something quieter underneath all of this. An unfinished project is still perfect. Your novel is still a masterpiece. Your business is still thriving. It still feels like something that could matter, if you ever let it. Because it hasn't had to become real yet. Nothing unfinished has gotten a bad review. It hasn't forced you to admit, this is harder than I thought. And it hasn't asked you to let anyone see you trying. So sometimes 90% feels safer than done. 90% is still hope. It hasn't been judged. It hasn't disappointed you. It hasn't disappointed anyone else. And that doesn't mean you're lazy. It might just mean that some part of you has decided that unfinished feels safer. So I won't tell you to wake up at 5, eat the frog, and just finish things. Because telling someone to just finish things is a little like telling someone who can't sleep to just relax. It sounds reasonable, but it skips over the part that's making it hard, which honestly isn't especially helpful. Instead, notice the moment after the beginning wears off. The exact moment the work becomes real. The moment your hand reaches for a new beginning. That's the trapdoor. And once you can see the trapdoor, you don't have to fall through it automatically. You can still walk away. You can still start something else. But now it's a choice, not a reflex. And maybe, every once in a while, you finish one thing on purpose. Small is fine. Send the email you've been avoiding. Publish the page. Export the video. Not because finishing makes you morally superior. Not because you need to become someone who's perfectly productive all the time. You need the data. You need to learn, at least once, that a thing can become real and you can survive it. It can be imperfect. People can have opinions. It can disappoint you a little. And the world keeps turning. So, that domain you're paying $14 a year to keep technically alive? You don't have to launch the business today. But maybe notice what you're really buying. It's not hosting. It's permission to keep the dream perfect by never letting it become real. Maybe, just once, let one thing become real instead. Maybe it was never about finishing. Maybe it was about what you'd find out if you did.